With America and the world's attention on tariffs and Donald Trump, Israel's onslaught of Gaza and the people in it continues. This morning, Israel struck the El Ahli hospital, the last major hospital providing care in northern Gaza. This is NBC News footage of the aftermath. One patient, a girl, died during the evacuation because staff were unable to provide urgent care. Israel claimed once again that it struck a Hamas command and control center within the hospital without providing any evidence. Remember, this is the same hospital that caused so much controversy when it was bombed on October 17th of 2023, with both sides trading blame on who actually bombed it. At the time, the Israeli military said it couldn't be them because, quote, hospitals are not a target. We would never target a hospital.
Okay, so just to pause here, so that's just a blatant lie. And every single person who defended Israel and claimed they just don't do that has to be eating their words, because it's like, I don't even know how many hospitals later that they've bombed. At first, the claim was that they would never do this, not a target. They lied. And then the claim became that there was active Hamas. There was Hamas center in there. And as we've gone over before, their evidence of this was literally like a calendar that had the names of the week in Arabic. That was one of one of the smoking guns to prove that there is Hamas control. Not for this hospital, I don't think, but for another one.
There are 36 hospitals in Gaza that have either been fully or partially destroyed by Israel.
Yeah.
36.
So, take that, every single person who lied and pretended that this is just something that Israel wouldn't do. All right, let's keep playing.
Today, they're bombing hospitals out in the open and taking credit for it. A UN report from late last year said that at least 130 strikes by Israel on at least 27 hospitals and 12 other medical facilities, killing many doctors, nurses, medics, and other civilians. How did we get to this point, you might ask? How is it that something that was considered an atrocity 18 months ago, that captured the world's attention and that forced Israel to strongly deny it, is now so common that it barely gets any media attention, almost like background noise? Last month, a funeral service was held for 15 medics and emergency responders who the United Nations said were killed by Israeli troops. Their bodies were found buried in a mass grave, apparently plowed over by Israeli military bulldozers. The Palestinian Red Crescent said that their vehicles were clearly marked and accused Israel of killing them in, quote, cold blood, with some handcuffed and executed. Again, this was strongly denied by the Israeli government, including the foreign minister, Gideon Sa'ar.
Well, the IDF did not randomly attack an ambulance. Well, last Sunday, several uncoordinated vehicles were identified advancing suspiciously toward IDF troops without headlights or emergency signals.
The Israeli military also repeatedly told this version of the story that you just heard there to the international press, until new footage was discovered from the cell phone of one of the dead medics, and it showed that Israel was lying, a development that was first reported by the New York Times. Now, contrary to Israel's claims, the video shows the medics driving slowly with their emergency vehicles' lights flashing, logos visible, as they pulled up to help an ambulance that had come under fire earlier. The medics do not appear to be acting unusually or in a threatening manner. Their vehicles immediately come under a barrage of gunfire and gunshots, and that continues for more than 5 minutes. The owner of the phone is then heard reciting his final prayers, asking for acceptance from God and asking for forgiveness from his mother for choosing this profession of being a paramedic. Israel is now acknowledging inaccuracies in its original story and promising a thorough examination, but that's like an arsonist promising to investigate the fire. We have seen this story time and time again, and we shouldn't have to wait for the New York Times to validate these stories to a Western audience. Israel has killed more than 100 civil defense workers and more than 1,000 health workers since October 7th, according to the UN. The images we have seen from the past month alone have been beyond disturbing, and a warning that some we're about to show you are graphic. This is footage that NBC News recently captured in the aftermath of an Israeli air attack on a school-turned-shelter in Gaza City. At least 27 people, some of them children, were killed in the strike and 70 others injured, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. The Israeli military claimed that they had destroyed what they called a Hamas command and control center and numerous militants. Again, no evidence. Haven't we heard that explanation before? This is what the aftermath of the bombing site looked like. Here, a man holds the clothes belonging to the unborn child of his 9-month pregnant sister, who was killed in the strike alongside her husband and mother. But the worst images are the ones that I cannot show you on this TV. A journalist being burned alive, unable to move, and no one able to rescue him from the flames. Doctors operating on a young boy whose entire chest is missing. We have also seen a number of babies decapitated, as depicted here by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Mona Chalabi. In one haunting photo, a man is crying, kissing the severed head of his dead son. At least 100 children are reported killed or injured every day in Gaza since Netanyahu ended the ceasefire in March with a green light from Donald Trump, according to UNRWA. And that's just from the bombings. According to UNICEF, no food, fuel, medicine, or other essentials have been allowed into Gaza since March 2nd, the longest period of aid blockage since the start of the war. The World Food Program recently announced that all bakeries in Gaza have shut down due to a severe lack of fuel and flour. And a sign of how normalized this has all become, Benjamin Netanyahu was welcomed back at the White House on Monday. Netanyahu's flight to Washington took about 13 hours longer than normal. That's because the flight path had to avoid countries that might enforce the ICC's arrest warrant against him for his alleged war crimes. But instead of being brought to justice, he was welcomed with open arms to continue discussions about ethnically cleansing Gaza. Whether it's Democrats or Republicans in charge, it's business as usual. This normalization brings to mind Hannah Arendt's concept of the banality of evil, which she developed while covering the trial of Nazi official Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem. The banality of evil is the idea that evil does not have the villainous appearances that we might think it does. Evil doesn't have horns and a tail. Rather, evil is perpetuated when immoral principles become normalized over time. It becomes commonplace, the norm, something that happens every day, slowly becoming acceptable. And ordinary people going about their everyday lives, becoming complicit actors in this system that is perpetuating this evil. While Arendt developed this idea while studying Nazi Germany, she argued that this systemic oppression and the slow normalization of evil can actually occur anywhere. Well, it is staring us in the face right now.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe to Risky Edges and turn on bell notifications. Please support independent media. Thank you.